In this video we're taking a look at the game based on Roger Moore's debut as 007, 1988's Live and Let Die by Domark and Elite Systems. Domark had obtained the license to produce games based on the James Bond franchise, starting with A View to a Kill in 1985, which received pretty mixed reviews, and then The Living Daylights in 1987. Meanwhile, Elite Systems were working on a game called Aquablast. It was a kind of spiritual successor to their home conversion of Buggy Boy that they had success with the year before. Domark were looking to produce a game based on Live and Let Die, but their original development team, Linsoft, were taking too long. So they offered Elite Systems a deal. Buy their Aquablast game, slap the 007 license on it, and make both themselves and Elite loads of money. Or so they hoped. The entire game is based on the thrilling speedboat chase in Louisiana from the 1973 movie, in which 007 is assigned to put an end to Dr. Kananga's, aka Mr. Big, drugs empire. The game is split up into 4 sections. A target practice course where you shoot the red targets with your primary weapon and hit the black targets by using your missiles. Sahara Desert and North Pole training exercises where you can learn the different types of defence systems used by Kananga. And then it's on to New Orleans for the main mission, to destroy Mr. Big's drug complex. Now, it does appear that the people who wrote the blurb on the back of the inlay, the guys that wrote the instructions, and the team who reskinned the game didn't consult with one another, as, according to the back of the box, you're pursuing Mr. Big across Florida. And in the instructions themselves, the game is set in the South American jungles, and the training exercises are in a Middle Eastern desert and the Norwegian fjords. But as I mentioned earlier, the main game is set in New Orleans, Louisiana, and the training exercises are located at the North Pole and the Sahara. But no matter, let's finally take a look at the main game. Now, unfortunately, there's no loading music, but you do get this somewhat okay digitised image of the box art, and after about 6 minutes, the game begins. So, like I said, the object of your mission is to find and destroy Mr. Big's processing plant, which is at the end of the course. And it took me around 12 minutes to get to it, but don't worry, you won't have to endure the full 12 minutes as I've cut it down into a few manageable chunks. Firstly, you'll notice it does indeed have a striking resemblance to Buggy Boy, and it plays a lot like it too, as it was the same programmers who did both games. Dave and Bob Thomas, along with Peter Cook, no, not that one, and musician Mark Cooksey. As you travel along the Louisiana bayous, you're faced with a number of obstacles and enemies, including rocks, mines, gun emplacements and enemy speedboats. And just like Bond, use your wits to get out of a sticky situation, such as using the environment to your advantage, like speeding up an embankment to avoid rocks or jumping over logs to evade enemy fire. The only weapons at your disposal are a machine gun and missiles. Now, most things can be shot with a machine gun, but some enemies and obstacles require the missiles in order to be destroyed, including the lock gates. but remember to use them sparingly, as you only have 3 missiles at a time, until of course the CIA helicopter flies over and drops more, along with some fuel. And speaking of fuel, keep an eye on the fuel gauge as it depletes rapidly throughout your journey, but you can always pick up extra fuel, providing you don't accidentally shoot it. Once you finally reach the processing plant, fire a missile after a well-timed jump off a log, and it's goodnight Kananga. And there we have it, I finally managed to reach the end of the game, and I didn't even use an unlimited fuel cheat. Honest. Now, Live and Let Die wasn't just released on the Commodore 64, it was also released on the ZX Spectrum, Amstrad CPC, Amiga and Atari ST. So let's take a quick look at those versions. First up is the Amstrad CPC version, and it does look nice and colourful compared to the Commodore 64. However, it is difficult to tell if it's an enemy boat or a fuel pickup that's approaching until it's right in front of you. But the gameplay does feel a lot more fast and frantic in comparison. And then we have the ZX Spectrum version, and unfortunately it suffers from the same problem as the Specky port of Buggy Boy, in which the main sprite is huge compared to everything else on screen, and you chug along at a snail's pace. I think the only thing going for this version is the fact you can fire 2 bullets at the same time from your machine gun. Moving on to the 16-bit ports of Live and Let Die, and here is the Amiga version, which I've owned since the early 90s, and for me, this is the best version of the game. The controls are nice and responsive, it has the option to have in-game music or just sound effects, and it's a lot more forgiving than the 8-bit ports. And finally the Atari ST version, which, well, it's basically the same as the Amiga version, but without the music option. However, it does seem to be a little faster than the Amiga, although I was probably just flooring it on the ST. Still, not a bad port, and again is more forgiving than the 8-bits. So, just before we wrap things up, I think I may have discovered something that nobody has ever picked up on, and if they have, there's no record of it. So, as I was editing the video, I was taking a look at the back of the budget re-release of Live and Let Die on the Encore label, and I noticed there's no 007 logos on any of the screenshots on the back. So, this is Aquablast, and if that's the case, why on earth have they used screenshots from Aquablast and not Live and Let Die when this came out 2 years after the original from 1988? So what did you think of Live and Let Die, the computer game? Did you have this back in the day? Did you enjoy it, or just find it frustrating like I did as a kid? Or just think it was a quick cash grab? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, if you enjoyed this video or have a taste for nostalgia, be sure to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, bye!